I would say that I listen to understand, so with empathy. I would also say that it's not always what the person is saying, it's how they're saying it. So it's not just, they're just talking about X, Y, and Z, but their nonverbal communication is really key in any type of communication, especially if they're coming to you with a concern or with a problem. I think it's really important to watch for those nonverbal cues. And I think people know that I'm listening because I ask for clarifying questions. And I think my body language is important too. And so I'm listening, attentively. And it's funny because sometimes I'm working in the office and some students will come in the office and they'll start talking, which is not unusual in either one of our offices. They just come in and just start talking about everything underneath the sun. And so we're listening, but we're not probably actively listening because we're working. And then when we hear the tone of their voice or I really need to talk, then we literally turn ourselves towards that student so we're engaged. And I literally have to do that because otherwise they're in there so much you don't know when they need you or when they're just in there just to say, hey, what's up? So you just have to just pick up on those nonverbal communication, and then you also have to pick up on the fluctuation in the voice as well.
I think generally I stop what I'm doing and I often will turn my body so that I'm facing them. Sometimes people don't like a lot of eye contact, so I try to go off of their cues, whether or not they're looking me in the eye. Because for some folks, looking people in the eye would be a sign of disrespect. Right. And so I want people to show up as they are, not who they think that I think that they should be. I think that people know that I'm listening when I can rephrase something that sounds like what they said, but maybe aren't the same words, not a regurgitation of, wow, you seem like you really feel like unless that's genuine and pertinent, that's not how I'm going to do it. And sometimes it's about saying, wow, that sounds really hard, or congratulations, that sounds like a great success. So picking up on what's not being said, some of those emotional and non-verbal cues I think are really important. So I think being able to reflect that back in my voice, but also my body language is really helpful, and lets people know that I'm listening. If I'm in my office, I shut off my monitor often. If I have my speakers on, I'll shut my speakers off, just to make sure that in our office things can get really busy and really hustling and bustling, and so those things are things that I do intentionally, and when it's warranted, I close my door.
But that you learn sometimes just being quiet and listening, and saying I'm there for you, and a hug, and a smile, and you develop that. And so I always try to hear, and I try to explain this to people. When somebody comes and tells you something, and again, after being a rabbi for many years, you become sort of adept at this. I always try to read between the lines what they're really trying to tell me. Someone's coming and is very upset about something, and it's almost like, why are they so upset about that? They're usually telling me something else in a different way. So I think a leader, someone who's working with students, has to develop that ability and that empathy and that sensitivity to really understand what some people are asking you, because often it's not the words that are coming out of their mouth and it's something else. They're hurting. They come in and they're very angry about something, but they're really in pain about something else. And so I try to always focus on what's really being said and what's being meant. And from that I learn, do they want me to listen? Do they want me to give them an answer? Do they want me to focus and reorient them to what's really bothering them? Or do they just want some support right now? There's a time to be quiet. There's a time to provide answers. There's a time to laugh. There's a time for everything. There's a time to distract too. And you eventually get good with body language, and you sense when someone's comfortable, and you sense what they're going through. And these are things. To be a people's person, you really got to again focus, like I said before, on the person. Focus on the person. Don't get caught up with the external sort of things, which can often be even the words that they're choosing to use. But listening to them, that's truly listening.